Hi, everybody. Elida Zweidler-McKay with ZM Coach, where we're all about helping you take your career to the next level, whether that's moving up in your current organization or finding a new job somewhere else. So today I want to talk to you about this post that I saw on LinkedIn. I don't know if you follow Adam Grant, but he's a professor at Wharton, where I went to school. Obviously, he's a professor much later than he joined that faculty much later than I was there. But he is a writer and a thinker and just a great mind in the world of organization behavior. And so I follow him. And today I saw this post that he put out there. Let me just pull it up so I can read it to you. He wrote, "If you're surprised by the feedback you get at a performance review, your boss has failed. Good managers don't wait for formal meetings to help you grow. They make it a daily priority. The sooner you get feedback, the sooner you can break bad habits and learn better ones." He is so right about that. If you are a manager or a leader, one of the primary jobs that you have is to give your people feedback to support their development. But today I want to talk about what happens if you're on the receiving end of some of that surprise feedback, because it definitely happens. And yes, it means that your boss isn't quite doing what they want to do. But what I've noticed in coaching my clients is that there's sort of a choice you have at that moment. You can go into your head and be frustrated and angry and upset with your boss for being a bad boss and doing it wrong. Or you can find a strategy for responding to that bad feedback. And that is what I have helped clients do. So unfortunately, it's happened all too often that clients and people I've been working with have gotten surprise feedback that's been upsetting to them. And maybe parts of it were kind of familiar. Maybe there was, that one thing that happened with that one person that one time. But overall, like the boss's takeaway from the feedback that they gathered from other people or from in their own observations paints a picture that is not flattering and that can really hold the person back, because now their boss has this impression of them that isn't quite accurate and certainly isn't flattering and definitely isn't going to get them where they want to go. So the question is, when that happens, how do you respond? And this, I would say, is one of the most important inflection points in your career, responding to that kind of surprise feedback. So there are a couple of things that you need to pay attention to. One is really paying attention to your emotional state. So the most important thing that you have to do is get through the ick of it, get through the frustration, get through the irritation, get through the blaming and complaining and all that stuff. That is, of course, a natural response that any of us are going to have to that situation. But you have to be able to clear that out so that you can go into the conversation with your boss completely clean, completely settled. And finding a good mentor or coach who can help you do that can be really useful. Someone who's not going to ramp up the negative thinking, but also someone who's not going to discount it and just tell you to get over it. Like someone who can really sit with you and help you move through it so that you come out the other side really settled from having gone through the reactions that you've had to that negative feedback. So that's the first thing, is to kind of get through the ick of it and get yourself into a more empowered emotional state. The next thing to do is to strategize. What is it that you're going to say to your boss? And that involves getting really clear about the parts of the feedback that you will take ownership for, the things that maybe they've seen that haven't quite been up to the standard that you would want to set for yourself, the ways that your behavior hasn't quite fit, the mistakes that you made along the way, really taking ownership for those and being ready to say that to your boss and to own it, not in a way that puts yourself down or sort of takes on the story that you're a failure or you're wrong or you're bad. Like that's what we have to do when we get the ick out of the way, but in a way that really helps you own the mistakes and own the regret that you might have about those mistakes. So that's the next part, is really strategizing what to say. And then the third part is figuring out what you want to say about the go forward relationship with your boss. So we have what you're going to say about the feedback that they've given you and how you're going to take ownership for the pieces of it. And if there are any parts of it that you want to kind of refute or kind of realign, give your boss some information about, that's another piece. And then the third piece is figuring out the conversation you want to have with your boss about what your go forward relationship will be. So you've heard me say this before, but it's very true that a lot of us avoid feedback, either giving it or receiving it, because we see feedback as judgment and as kind of a well, judgment or grade or evaluation of who we are as a person. And that makes it really hard to either give feedback because you feel like if you're going to give it, you're going to be really judgy. And it also makes it hard to receive it because it's like anytime someone gives you feedback about your behavior, it's like an indictment of your whole self. So I think that's one of the things that keeps people from giving us good feedback, is that they worry about our reacting to it, taking it personally, or feeling bad about it. So the third part of the conversation, which you're going to have with your boss and that you have to kind of get set up and ready for, is how do you create the context so that your boss is going to be comfortable giving you feedback in the moment going forward. Now, in an ideal world, you wouldn't have to do this for your boss. In an ideal world, power would flow down from the top and our boss would be a good parent to us and they would take care of us the way we want to be taken care of. But that's not the real world. The real world is that you and your boss are on an even footing and they have information and you need that information. And your goal is to create the runway for them to be able to give you that information on a regular basis in a way that you're going to take it in and be able to improve or focus on the things they want you to focus on or make the kind of changes they want you to make. And so the third part of that conversation that you're going to have with your boss is really about that. Like, how do you lay the groundwork so that they're on the same side of the table with you and they're giving you feedback because it's going to help you grow, and they're no longer holding on to the worry that they can't give it or they'll be judgy or you'll feel bad. They've now settled out of that because you've helped them settle out of that so that now you can get the information that you need to take your career forward. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you've been in that situation, if you end up in that situation where you've gotten some surprise feedback and you're having to like claw your way back out of it, I hope this gives you some good information about how to do that. Of course, my clients tell me that it's much easier to do that with a coach on their side, helping them think it through. So if that's something that you would be interested in knowing more about, you can reach out to me at zmcoach.com/apply and book a call to talk with someone on my team, and we'll get you set up with a conversation about what we can do for you in your career. Again, that's zmcoach.com/apply. Take care.